The Veltharian Academy of Strategic Excellence had never seen anything quite like Cadet Marcus Chen. Standing barely 6 feet tall among his towering alien classmates, the human looked almost comically out of place in the grand halls of what was considered the galaxy's most prestigious military institution. Commander Zethkar, an imposing Veltharian with crystalline skin that reflected his species' inherent arrogance, had made it clear from day one that humans didn't belong here. "Your species is barely out of their caves," he had sneered during Marcus's first week. "Perhaps you should return to playing with sticks and stones." The other cadets, Zephyrians with their forearms and tactical neural implants, Croxian warriors bred for combat, and the ethereal Astari with their precognitive abilities, had laughed. Marcus had simply nodded and taken his seat in the back of the lecture hall. The humiliation campaign began in earnest during the first tactical simulation. Commander Zethkar assigned Marcus to lead a defense against what appeared to be an impossible assault. 3 enemy fleets converging on a poorly defended colony world with limited resources and outdated weapon systems. "Let's see what human ingenuity can accomplish against real military strategy," Zethkar announced to the class, his words dripping with disdain. Marcus studied the scenario for exactly 37 minutes while his classmates whispered among themselves about the inevitable failure they were about to witness. The simulation parameters were clearly designed to be unwinnable, a teaching tool to demonstrate the importance of proper resource allocation and the futility of heroic gestures against superior forces. When Marcus finally input his commands, even the simulation's AI seemed surprised. Instead of attempting a direct defense, he had ordered the evacuation ships to scatter in seemingly random directions, abandoned the orbital defense platforms, and deliberately created what appeared to be complete chaos in the colony's defensive grid. The attacking fleets moved in for what should have been an easy victory. That's when Marcus's true strategy revealed itself. The evacuating ships weren't fleeing. They were positioning themselves as improvised mine layers, using their industrial fusion cores as massive explosives. The abandoned defense platforms weren't empty. They were broadcasting false signals that convinced 2 of the attacking fleets that the third was actually a hostile force. The chaos in the defensive grid wasn't confusion. It was a carefully orchestrated pattern that created the appearance of a much larger defensive fleet using sensor echoes and electronic warfare. Within 2 hours of simulation time, all 3 attacking fleets had been destroyed or routed, not through superior firepower, but through misdirection, psychological manipulation, and the kind of creative thinking that came naturally to a species that had survived ice ages, world wars, and the transition to spaceflight despite having no natural advantages whatsoever. The lecture hall fell silent. Commander Zethkar stared at the tactical display, his crystalline features reflecting his shock and disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "The simulation must be malfunctioning." "Run it again," Marcus said quietly. "Different parameters. Same result." They ran it again, and again. Each time, Marcus found ways to turn apparent weaknesses into devastating advantages, to make the enemy's strengths work against them, to win battles that no military academy in the galaxy would have considered winnable. Word spread quickly through the academy. The human cadet who was supposed to be the class joke had just revolutionized tactical thinking. His approaches didn't rely on superior technology, overwhelming force, or exotic alien abilities. Instead, they demonstrated something that had never been properly valued in galactic military doctrine: the power of adaptive creativity under pressure. Other instructors began requesting that Marcus analyze their impossible scenarios. His solutions were studied, dissected, and eventually integrated into the Academy's core curriculum. The strategies that had once been dismissed as primitive human desperation were now being taught as advanced tactical doctrine. By his 3rd year, Marcus wasn't just a cadet anymore. He was guest lecturing to senior classes, consulting with active military commanders, and developing entirely new frameworks for asymmetric warfare. The Academy's win rate in interinstitutional war games had improved by over 400% since implementing what came to be known as Chen Doctrine. Commander Zethkar, his career prospects significantly enhanced by being associated with this tactical revolution, made a formal request that Marcus join the Academy's permanent faculty upon graduation. "I don't understand," Zethkar admitted during their private meeting. "Your species has no natural tactical advantages. No enhanced intelligence, no precognitive abilities, no superior physical capabilities. How do you consistently outthink opponents who are demonstrably more advanced? Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying the alien commander who had once tried so hard to humiliate him. Maybe that's exactly why we're good at this, he said. Every other species in the galaxy has some natural advantage that they rely on. You've become dependent on your strengths. We never had that luxury. He gestured toward the tactical displays showing his latest simulation results. Humans learned to survive by being unpredictable, by finding solutions that shouldn't work but somehow do, by turning our weaknesses into weapons. You call it primitive. We call it necessary. 3 years after graduating, Professor Marcus Chen stood before a new class of cadets at the Veltarian Academy of Strategic Excellence. The lecture hall was packed beyond capacity, with senior military officers attending alongside first-year students. His course, Adaptive Strategy and Creative Problem Solving, had become the most sought-after class in the galaxy. Today, he announced to the mixed crowd of eager alien faces, we're going to discuss why the most dangerous opponent you'll ever face isn't the one with the biggest guns or the most advanced technology. It's the one who has nothing left to lose and everything to prove. In the back of the hall, Commander Zethkar took careful notes, just like any other student. The human who had once been their joke had become their greatest teacher, proving that in a galaxy full of natural-born warriors and tactical geniuses, sometimes the most powerful weapon was simply being human. The galaxy was learning to think like humans, and that, Marcus reflected with quiet satisfaction, was probably the most terrifying tactical advantage of all.